Okay, let's find out what generating manifestors mean. Generating manifestor.
A manifesting generator is a human design type. They blend responsiveness with the ability to start things. They should respond to life with their gut, moving quickly through tasks and following their inner yes and no for satisfaction.
So I thought that was quite interesting because I had heard through the spiritual community people talking about blueprints, right? So I investigated this even further, and this is where I started coming up with these 5 types of human blueprints, right? They had the manifester, they had the generator, they had reflective, a hybrid manifesting generator, and then yeah. So there was one more, but I can't remember exactly what that was. So um the manifesting generator says key characteristics and strategy. Hybrid energy combines sustainable energy of a generator sacral center with the ability to initiate action like a manifester, motor center connected to throat. Strategy, wait to respond. They must wait for something to show up in their life, a question, an opportunity, and then use their sacral response, a gut for yes and for no, to guide them rather than initiating from the mind. Fast and multi-passionate, known for moving quickly, learning fast and often juggling multiple projects or interests simultaneously, finding satisfaction in variety. Aura, open and enveloping, making them magnetic to people and opportunities. Not self-themed, frustration when they don't follow their response. Signature, satisfaction when they honor their sacral response. How they operate. Sacral response, the core of their decision making. It's a physical gut reaction to things that light them up. Efficiency and skipping steps can be so fast they skip steps or go ahead, often needing to look back to inform others or recheck things. Need for variety. Unlike pure generators, MGs thrive when they can engage in many different activities that fuel their sacred energy, avoiding burnout from monotony. Paving new paths, they create new ways of doing things and have a powerful capacity to bring ideas to life, but they need freedom and self-acceptance for their multifaceted approach. In essence, manifesting generators are here to build and create rapidly and efficiently, but only on what truly excites their sacral energy. They are designed to be the planet's dynamic life force, but must learn to trust their gut responses and move at their own unique, often non-linear pace. So I thought that was quite interesting. Let's talk about some more. Okay, so if I hadn't welcome you, hi, welcome. Thank you for joining me on my channel. Like I said, it was brought to my attention that people were utilizing a system that I didn't really know about. So, of course, I had to investigate what was this system, right? And the normal way that I investigate is I utilize if it's true, if it defines me correctly. Is it true? Right? So I put in my information, and it said that I was a generating manifester. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of sounds like me. Yeah, kind of, right? And why do I say kind of? Because as I was reading further, the definition says that I'm kind of rebellious, right? I only do what I want to do, right? If my gut says, yeah, do it, yep, do it, then I do it. If my gut says, don't do it, I don't do it, right? And that's so true. I'm like, oh, shit. People often would wonder, how do you explain what propels you to do and what not to do, right? And how often, even the things that I want to do, there are things that I want to do that I have to, make all of these preparations and, and be on my mark and ready and set, but I got to wait for the go sign. I can't just go without getting, the message to get it going. So, yeah, right? And, I back that up with the saying like, luck is preparation meets opportunity. That's how I back that statement up. Preparation meets opportunity. So you prepare, and when that timing, when you can hit that timing mark, then you can knock the ball out the ballpark if you hit it just right. But, sometimes you have to practice your swing. You have to practice what bat you want. You have to do all sorts of things. Today I did this exercise. This cardio video. Normally I just do what I like to do, right? But today I had challenged myself with this cardio video. It's 71 degrees out, but this cardio video has got me sweating, right? I did my walk and I was getting ready to do my regular exercises. Well, I wasn't going to do my regular exercises, right? I was going to get out and I was going to come enjoy this nice weather we got going on out here. But anyway, this video came up and somehow or another, my gut says, hey, can you take this on as a challenge? You are getting kind of a big gut there. You keep complaining about, you're going to have to change your ways. You're going to have to change your exercises. You're going to have to change your eating patterns. But you ain't doing look, you just doing the same old thing. You're doing the bare minimum and the maximum when it comes to eating. And that's so true. That's so true. I was looking at this I guess he's a content creator, right? He somehow or another came on my feed, on my algorithm yesterday, and he's gotten really, really popular, because he's telling people just call him delicious. And I'm like, okay, right? So I'm watching him, right? And somehow or another, me watching him, put him on my algorithm, right? And he has thousands and thousands and thousands of videos, I guess. I don't know. It seemed like he must, because I was watching him, fell asleep, woke up, and he was still on my feed. I'm like, what the hell is this, right? But of course, anytime I start seeing, extremely overweight people, that's like, I be feeling like that's God telling me a message, Sheree. need moderation, girl, and you need more activity, right? And yeah, I do. So when I seen the video, it was like, yes, you can do your regular, easy going, lightweight exercises. You can. However, take this video as a challenge, right? So I did, and I'm sweating. I'm still sweating from the challenge of this video. Okay? So basically, it kind of has you doing 3 sets of movements that, help your abdominal area and, increases your heart rate. So, yeah, it caused me to sweat. It caused me to sweat. So, I'm still sweating. Normally, once I wipe down and, dry off and stuff, right? The sweat's over with. But this video has still caused me to sweat more, right? And I think that's great. I do, but I don't like it. I don't like it because I'm out here feeling kind of sticky. Okay? I'm out here feeling kind of sticky. I got sweat dripping down my cheeks. I don't like it. But I have, backed way down off of my exercises. I really have. Right? Because I used to do, I just started doing different types of exercises. That's it. I just started doing different types of exercises, and because I did different types of exercises, some exercises are a lot easier to me than others, right? And of course, I like to take the easy way, right? I guess I was talking to myself when I was saying, yeah, you're doing your exercises, but, you're not doing exercises that challenge you enough to even make a difference. Yeah, I kind of was talking to myself. Who else am I talking to? Nobody else is listening, so I am talking to myself. But I'm making a video so I don't look like I'm talking to myself. And then I can review it later. Because a lot of times I don't listen to myself. Don't listen to myself. As soon as I say it, I forgot what I said. Right? So, it's the day after Christmas, and the temperature already is 81 degrees out here. And I love it. Right? Because the fact that it's 81 degrees out here, it reminds me of spring and summer. Normally, the weather would be so cold, right? Like it is in some areas in the United States. It's cold, right? And the cold weather makes me inactive and overeating. Okay? It's like my body is like a bear, right? It's like, all we want to do when it gets cold is store enough fat so we don't have to leave the house. And we can sleep in all day and all night. Alright? And it's true. It's true. It's so true. Now, if I lived in a world where I, as a woman, wouldn't have to go out here and go to work, that would be great. Right? I could stay in. I wouldn't have to go out there and go to work. I wouldn't have to deal with stress. Right? I could have a man or not have a man. It's just like our government should just make sure, that every woman, survives. Especially if she has produced children into this world. Because the children and the great-grandchildren and the great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren will want to know her history. Alright? That's why it's so important for the moms to be around. Right? Most people, they really don't care about what the fathers have done, because most of the time the fathers is doing some bullshit. Yeah, because the fathers is doing some bullshit that nobody wants to know, and he don't want nobody to talk about. Right? And or what people do know, he gaslight them till they're telling his story. Right? History. Okay. Look at all them pelicans. There's some big ass birds. That's weird. I want to know, can we eat a pelican? How come we don't have pelican on the menu? So anyway. Systems that people keep using to try to figure out humanity, and to try to be able to coin them like some kind of mint in that we all got to be this or that, and it's like, let me tell you something, there's gonna be people that are in between, right? Because even when I thought about the generating manifester, right, I thought about the hybrid card, right? We got some gasoline cars out here, and we got some electrical cars, and we got some hybrids. Right? We got some in-betweens. Day today, and even though it's quite late that I'm getting out quite late. It's 3:15. Got up to 82 degrees. Nice, really nice. I contemplated the idea of bringing the doggies out for, a ride. And I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. Even though they have calmed down a little bit. They've calmed down a little bit. They got some dollar and free stuff. Let me go around here and see what's free. They said dollar and free stuff. Let me go see. Why they want to sit up here and say free? Even though I'm in the purging era of my life, sometimes there are things out there that will make my life easier. I'm going to go over here and see. Just because they out here having a giveaway right after Christmas. Let's see. Let me see. Dang, bins upon bins upon bins. Stuff. Those are the free items. They even got a fucking... They have a pressure cooker. They have a pressure cooker for free. Let me get out here and see. Let's go see. Hi.
Anything over there is $1. This is free. And right there, the phone is $1.
Dollar here, and this is free. How are you today? Oh, I'm loving this weather. Isn't this nice?
I was complaining, not calling Christmas, but I don't care.
Right.
It's perfect.
I can wait for the cold weather until February.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does this Instapot work?
Yes, but we put it for free because it's missing the parents inside.
It's missing the pot inside?
Yeah, but a lady told us that you can buy it separate. So now we're gonna put it for free for whoever wanna buy it,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it still with my friend. So this, I guess what's hers. In the first, I don't even know how to close it.
Right.
So the lady I was here, she said, I have one, I can tell you how to close it, and yeah, you can buy these separate. So,
Do the pots work interchangeably with other pots?
I don't know. I never have one. Like, I don't really have
I have it's not an Instapot, but it's a different kind, but it looks like it's the same size and everything.
Because you put it on and take it out.
Yeah. Maybe it fits. Hold on. Okay. I got this Instapot back here without the pot. I'm thinking it might be interchangeable with the one that I have. But I got this book. It says the sun is also a star. And I had to buy it. Because that was one of the things that I have been thinking about. Was, how we keep talking about the four fixed stars, right? But in my mind, I'm trying to figure out why aren't we also, including the sun, right? Because the sun is also a star. And I'm like, well, some people are, including the sun as a star because they're using, a 5-pointed star, which would include the sun, right? Anyway, we kind of went left. But I think I might enjoy reading this book because it really caught my attention. And it's from this lady, a lady called Nicola. And it says, praise for everything. Okay? So, it sounds religious, but let's be real, just because something sounds religious doesn't mean it's necessarily religious. Because religious can sound, well, spiritual can sound religious. So I don't know why I would need another Instapot, but when I had tried to, work my Instapot, I had to wiggle the wire. I had to wiggle the wire. And then the lights came on. So that could be the reason why I needed to buy another Instapot. It could be. It could be. So yeah. I'm almost excited about this book here. And I guess the author is Nicola Yoon. Yeah, and she has been a bestseller. All right, so we'll see. That's another thing that I hadn't done in a while. I hadn't read any books in a while. I've been doing a lot of my reading, of books through audiobooks, because it just seemed like my eyes was being challenged to read the letters. But this size of print, it seems like it would be an easy read. Sometimes the printing and the type of print, and everything just becomes a challenge. But this book, it doesn't look like I'm gonna have that problem. So initially, she was charging $15.99 for this book, but I got it for $1. So let me see how many pages it is. It's got some stuff in here. All this stuff up in here. Interesting. But it's about it's about 330 pages. So with my multitasking ass, I could read about a page a day for a whole year. Unless it gets interesting. Now, if it gets really interesting, then, all bets are off, right? No telling how fast I'll read the book. And that is depending on, her spiritual language, right? That would depend on how interesting it would be. If her spiritual language is just regurgitating a whole bunch of patriarchal jibber jabber, we're not going to be doing that too much. We're just not. Right? And I'm going to be honest, sometimes when I read the Bible, my interpretation what I read is a lot different than what other people seem to be interpreting. And I'm like, okay, you know, I didn't come here to fight because I'm a lover, not a fighter. I wouldn't mind having this property right here. Nope, I wouldn't mind it at all. I don't want to go that way. Even though it's shorter, I don't want to go that way. That road is kind of raggedy and but yeah, these 3,000 square foot homes that they have right over here, they used to be, I think to build them was like 150. Like 150,000. And I was trying to get my spouse at the time, you know, to buy these large houses, you know, because I was thinking square footage, you know, and I'm thinking, you know, the more square footage, the better, right? And, you know, he was like, oh, well, the construction is not as well, and yay, you know, and I'm like, well, you know, okay. So we ended up going down here a little further, and let's see how well the construction held up, because those, they didn't really hold up real well. That's not it. This is it. Oh yeah, the construction held up really well. They painted the brick. They painted the brick. They redid the roof. They removed the fucking landscaping. I think the house is vacant. It is. The house is vacant. This was the house that we had built right here. And I think they changed the whole look of the house by painting it white and giving it a black roof. Here it is, right here. Oh. And they got a cat back here. The hell is the cat doing back here? They redid the fence. So I'm thinking they redid the fence. They redid the lighting. Oop. Damn, you guys be speeding down the fucking alleyway. The garbage man came speeding down the alleyway. And I was sitting up there getting ready to back in, because I wanted to take a look at the house that we used to own and how much it's, you know, how they tried to change it, upgrade it, and try to reach. It looks like they're trying to sell it, and that they had a cat tractor out there in the driveway that they might have leased to try to level out the landscaping and everything. All right. I believe that's what happened. But like I said, I believe the house is for sale. And unbeknownst to my spouse at the time, he didn't even realize that, you know, we were both on a spiritual journey, right? He felt like he alone was on a spiritual journey, and he failed his spiritual journey because, you know, he was, you know, he had you know, he had intended on becoming a I guess you would call it like an official of the Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, that's how I would like to paint my house right now. I would like to paint it all white outside and have a black roof, you know, and then on the inside, you know, it could be gray and white, you know, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, but yeah, I don't know if they're going to allow me, you know, to reap any profits from my home. It would be nice if they would, you know, but, you know, technically, you know, because I have refinanced a couple of times, you know, you could say that, you know, I might have got my money's worth if, you know, they consider me, you know, a person of poverty, right? Because our society, you know, they will categorize you and deem you to be, well, let's change the wording from deem to damn you. They'll damn you to be a person of poverty. And I don't know how a generating manifester is ever going to be a person of poverty for very long. I mean, they may have to cycle through it now and then, but I don't think they'll stay there for very long. So the generating manifestors, they're supposed to be 30% of the population of people that live upon this earth. Yeah, normally I rarely go back, you know, to the places where I have been. I rarely go back. But, you know, I guess it's okay, you know, in my mind, to go back over here at 3305 Bridgewater Drive. Alright? And when I'm tripping off of the address, right, 3305 is the spiritual number 11. Right? And the street is called Bridgewater. I mean, to me, everything sounds, totally like spiritual, that it should have went great. It should have went great, right? Okay. However, it was gonna go great. However, somebody else said, hey, you got it going on over there. I think I'm gonna take your man. And you know me, I'm like, oh, well, if you could take my man, take him. Because I don't want him if you could take him. Right? I don't want him if you could take him. So, you'll have some people out there who, because, they are kind of motivated through comparison and jealousy, that they felt like, oh, if you just gonna give me away to somebody? I'm like, no, I'm not trying to give you away to somebody. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. And if they can take you, you never was mine. See, that's what they don't understand. I mean, it would be different if like we were like in the dating stage. But if, you want to revert somebody back to the dating stage, and I'm trying to get over, postpartum stage. Nah, baby, we on two different levels here. We're not in sync. That's a shame. Too bad. Oh well. It's over. It's gone. I wasn't the one, you wasn't the one. C'est la vie. Right? And honestly, I probably would have skedaddled right on back to, California. Right? And then even my dad, he was talking about wanting to come over here while I was going through my divorce. And I'm like, Dad, you will get me in trouble when it comes to my divorce. Because my dad, he was going to smoke weed till he died. And they hadn't legalized weed smoking at that time. It wasn't legal. They just did it all the damn time. They just lived their life in secret. In a way, not really secret, but somehow or another they just got people to like them so much that nobody reported them and called the police on them. So that was interesting, reviewing that aspect of my life as a married woman to my second husband. And that fell apart real fast. Because, of course, men, they'll tell each other, what to expect if you marry a woman. And it's like, how did that happen? How all of a sudden, you're gonna let somebody tell you you're gonna let somebody tell us how to live our lives. And as far as I knew, we were fine. But it's like it's like men have this dream that marriage is, getting them a wife slave. Right? And I guess he kept trying to figure out, well, when you gonna be a real wife? And I'm like, how do you mean I'm gonna be a real wife? And it just never dawned on me, what a real wife means to a man. And as far as I'm concerned, the definition is not compatible with my identity. It's just not compatible. And they can tell me all they want to, that I am not wife material, and I'll say, okay, it's fine that I'm not wife material, but don't try to fuck me. Don't sit up here and say that I am not wife material and be trying to fuck me all the time without protection and getting me pregnant. That don't make no sense. Then get mad at me because you're like, well, I don't want society to think that, I don't want my kids. No, I don't want my kids born in a illegitimate situation, because it's a bad reputation for them, right? So you gonna marry somebody to save the reputation of the kids, but how are you treating the wife and the kids after you marry them? I mean, what's the reputation now? You see, it's like it was all just a weird, nightmare. To me, it was a nightmare to me. Because I'm like, this is crazy. This is craziness. There's a parking space right there. I think I'll take it. So a lot of people probably have went to the movie theater today, because they have some good movies. One of the things they tried to push was the movie of David. Right, David, who grew into King David. They're like, it's inspiring for the men. We'll have all the kids sit up here and see the story of King David, especially when, how about when he tried to, take that man's wife? Well, he took that man's wife. He took that man's wife and got that man's wife pregnant. So they killed the man. Anyway, let me go down here, since I got me a parking spot. And go and see the water. Walk around here, because it seems like there's a lot of people down here. Kind of said if I found me a parking spot, I will park and take a walk. Ooh, even though my legs, they hurt. That exercise was killing my legs. Okay. And God only knows why this guy's going around here at 25, 30 miles an hour, knowing that people are walking around this parking lot. Ooh. So sore. I'm gonna go down this way. Oh yeah, I'm glad I didn't bring the doggies.
Gloria, Gloria. Oh.
Girl, don't go in there. They trying to sell this one egg for $5. Oh God.
Whew, my leg. Look at all these people down here. Oh, the sun feels good. Whew. People down here taking pictures because they're beautiful. They're memorable. I think I do want to sit down in the grass somewhere. You know, my thigh was hurting a little bit. I'm gonna sit in the sun. Get some vitamin D. I sit on here to walk. Is this a chair? Oh, I'm gonna sit here. Got a few more boats up here. This is nice. You got the wind coming off of the water. It's really nice. You know, if you could just force yourself to relax. Yeah, my legs are so pale. Look at them. So pale. So is my face. It's kind of a trip being out here in t-shirts and shorts the day after Christmas. You know, it's just nice though. It's really, really, really nice. Look at the sky. Look. It's beautiful. beautiful. So beautiful. I know I was telling this the lady at the yard sale, saying to her, you know, yeah, it's unusually warm, huh? I said, yeah, we can wait until February for it to get cold, right? She was like, yeah. So